Today, we're talking about building high-performing teams, and we've got with us a guest today, Ricardo Castro. He's got one of the highest producing teams here at Nebraska Realty. We're going to talk about the challenges and the growth of that business. So stick around. You won't want to miss this. He leads a very large team here in the Omaha market. He's done it for a number of years. He's been in the industry for 20 plus years in real estate, 21 here at Nebraska Realty.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about leadership, building teams, scaling teams, and really how to maintain some balance today. So I think this is going to be an exciting podcast for us today. So Ricardo, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Jesse. Thanks for having me here.
Well, every great leader has a story. So we'd love to hear about your journey from being a solo agent and developing the team into really what you've developed today. So tell us a little bit about that.
Thank you. It's been a journey, a nice journey, a learning process that I'm still going through. 2012, I was working as a solo realtor for almost 10 years, I think. It was 10 years. And I wasn't seeing my family. I wasn't enjoying my kids were babies at the time, and I didn't see them much. And facing some challenges in that aspect. And then one of the main ideas to form the team was in order to share responsibilities and delegate responsibilities, and so I could keep up my production together with other realtors. And that's how everything started in 2013.
How did you get to that decision? Obviously, it probably didn't happen overnight. So how did you get to that point where you said, yes, this has to be the path for me?
It was a hard decision because I've been a self-employed person for much of my working life, and a small business owner. So I wasn't used to delegate, and that was the hardest part for me. But the main reason who took me to take this decision was the family. It's my kids were growing. I enjoy selling real estate. I enjoy doing what I'm doing, and it's hard. For me, the most difficult thing for me is to find balance in between business and personal life, and I needed to. So,
I think a lot of individuals that not only own businesses, but even especially real estate professionals, find having balance in their personal life versus their work life is very difficult. So, how did bringing on a team and developing a team, how did that help you find more balance in both parts of your life, both business and personal?
I'm still in the process, let me tell you. And my kids, I was born and raised in South America, so the whole dynamics of raising kids here for me is different. And my wife and I, I didn't realize about all the responsibilities that you have while being a father. And so I learned in the process, like many other people, of course, but running the business was keeping me away from my family. And that pushed me to make the decision to join forces with other people to keep serving at least the same number of families that I was serving and investors. And actually, things evolve in a better way because we serve even more families now. And we have a teammate in Lincoln who served Lincoln, Grand Island, and those areas. So we expanded our services in one of our assets is the Spanish language, so we serve that community as well.
That's fantastic. You know, as we dive a little bit further into this, the journey's super important. What are some of the key learning opportunities that you think other teams or other individuals that are maybe thinking about joining a team or developing their own team, what are some key learning opportunities that you think are really important?
I mean, I wish when I became a realtor in 2003, there weren't many teams around. The whole concept was not common, and I didn't even realize what was that about. And perhaps I didn't even find out because I wanted independence, to have an individual aspect of making decisions. Which maybe was not the right way to start. I was new in town and of course new in the industry. I actually would have enjoyed having more backup and more support. I had the support of, I was 1 year with a different company right after I came to Nebraska Realty, and the main reason was because it was day and night on the support that I had, but still I had to tailor my services to a specific segment. I think joining a team gives you that the support and the brainstorming process, different ways to solve situations. I manage my team, but I also knock the door of my teammates sometimes to solve situations and to join me, and they give me solutions sometimes.
How long did that take you to figure out that you have an opportunity with other team members that you can really lean into them? Because I think maybe sometimes as a leader, leaders carry too much weight on their shoulders, that they're responsible for decision making and direction and goals and all of these things. But was that a hard decision for you, or something to realize that, hey, I can really ask team members to help me with these decisions and give guidance for where we're going?
My goal is in my team is to have a diverse mindsets of in my team, diverse people, backgrounds. For example, I value a lot previous business owners to join our team, because their mindset is different, and we business owner, we face challenges that when I was an employee I wasn't ready to face. I value that, but at the same time, I like to have some people with salespeople or salesperson profile, because they have a strength that I don't have. And also, in our team, we have people who were in the trades before, right. And they know what it takes to get your hands dirty and see not the macro aspect of the business, to see work on detail. So that helped me out eventually to get feedback and input from people with different ways to think than mine. And besides that, I come from a different world and to the Midwest, and I also had to learn not only the language, learn the system, which is right. Actually way more difficult.
Wow. Yeah. That's pretty amazing perspective. You're looking at more of a strengths-based sales process, strengths-based team that you can leverage other members of your team for whatever you might need, whatever that day's tasks or month's tasks or even goals look like. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So let's push forward here just a little bit. So in the industry, approximately 10 years, you said, hey, I'm not getting the balance that I ultimately want on the personal side. So I made the decision to build this team. But as you're starting to look at other agents to hire, let's dive into that a little bit. Walk me through that decision-making process of how did you go about selecting team members to come join you in this journey as you built your real estate team?
The first thing I have pretty clear what the target market in the team's target market is. I mean, we all are business units, and each of us, we have our own business plan, our own segments or niches, and but overall we have a common target market. And so when I sit down with someone for a possibility of becoming a teammate, basically I put on the table right there what we're looking for.
Yeah.
And then the conversation goes not only the credentials that this person might have, the experience too, but also the way to be. I mean, it's the culture in our team is a pretty friendly environment. Our office is a wide open space with no cubicles, where there are desks all around, almost in a circle, and we listen even to the conversations of the teammates dealing with clients, and so we in that aspect we interact a lot on a daily basis. Each of us, or most of us, are immigrants. Actually, at this point, all of us are, but we come from different places. So we even learn from each other how to deal. Even the words in some aspects in the same language are different, or they apply different. And to me, it's so important that the person that I'm sitting down or inviting to become part of the team is not only has a lot of credentials also, and most importantly, that I see they're gonna join our team, the culture, and interact. We like people to come and bring to the table, but also receive.
Yep.
So both ways.
I've been to your office, and it's a interesting setup, and I love it because you're right. I had this early on as well. I had a business partner. We were in the same office, and I learned so much just from listening to his conversations. We were doing the same thing day in and day out, but we did it differently. Right? And I learned things about how he structured transactions, the way he presented options, the way he was introducing pieces and parts of a transaction to a client. And I think it's a great learning environment. And I think you've got that right there.
Thanks, God. Yes, he helps a lot. We have teammates who, when they are explaining the process of buying a house or selling a property, they speak like they are professors or teachers, with a lot of patience and step by step, and I like to hear that, and I try to learn from that. I have another young person right now who, she's a hustler. She's always calling. She's the only person that I know that she likes to make cold calls. It's which most people don't like, and she does it pretty good. And she's just 23 years old. We have a guy who joined us when he was 17 years old, and he came for an internship in summertime. He did that good that we created a position for him. And then when he became 19 years old, he became a realtor.
Wow.
We have another young kid. He came at 19. He's 22 now. He's in law school to become a real estate attorney. But he's my right hand and as a realtor as well. And so it's pretty diverse. We have another guy in his 50s. He used to own businesses in Mexico. He was a retailer, and also in South 24th Street. So his way to be and conduct is different than the younger people, and maybe than myself too.
So walk me through. So you've got a pretty diverse team. So you've got individuals that like to approach business a certain way versus another. They talk a little bit different versus another, just in their style of conversation. So tell me a little bit about, or walk us through how it was different in the beginning. So when you first started out almost 13 years ago now, right, building the team, what was the decision-making process then versus now as you're looking to bring someone in? So, and I'll reframe this just a little bit for you too. In the beginning, it was just you, and you're like, all right, I'm going to build this team. Come one, come all. And today, is it a little more refined in that? I know you talked about a couple of those pieces, but how is it different in your mind as a leader?
Well, I have to be sincere and explain people. It's not that I had the bright idea of creating a team and a plan to be profitable in the next following years. If I do X, Y, and Z, sometimes the best decisions or important decisions in life come as of after crisis, in a way. I was in a difficult part of my life actually, and on top of that, I was working 7 days of the week showing houses or trying to grow my business again, and I wasn't seeing my family. So I actually was starting to look for a job at the time, which I didn't like it because I always been, most of my life I've been a self-employed person, and I enjoyed doing real estate.
Yeah.
But I was at that point that I said I got to make a decision in order to see my kids grow and participate in raising my kids, and that's how the idea of the team came. I'm exhausted, and in order to, I did numbers, some analysis, and I might give up at the beginning, but then I'm gonna come back to almost at least at the beginning the same numbers that I'm used to produce, and that's how I started, and I joined forces with people who didn't have. I usually look for people who don't have my strengths, who have other strengths that I don't have, and try to mingle together. And we were two. Then another person came with us. He came from the trades, so he came a total different perspective.
Yeah.
And then the team grew. We are never desperate bringing people we want to invite people, we want productive people, but at the same time, we want to enjoy what we do.
Right.
And we are enjoying what we do. I mean, if you go to our office, it's all about jokes and respect, but jokes. And we have fun. We have once per month, we do a team bonding day or night. And we do the lunch and learn, we do sales meetings, and I give them the confidence to, and they know the name of my kids. I know the name of their kids. We go to baptisms, first communions, and different family events with them.
What I think is really interesting about this is that for you, it was the decision to build a team was more out of necessity.
Exactly.
It wasn't for this reason to just make a lot of money and build this grandiose team for awards or whatever it might be, which those can be reasons for goals to build a team too. But for you, this was out of necessity. You said, I've done my research, I'm educated, and I'm going to make an educated decision, but this is just a place that I have to jump to. So I think that's really important for real estate agents that and professionals that think that building a team might be right for them. The decision could be out of necessity, and as long as you've got some good advice and have some direction, this can be a thing you just kind of jump into. And obviously, you've learned to develop your decision-making process and individuals that you're bringing on with part of the team over the years. So, hats off to you. That's pretty amazing, and especially building this from a strengths perspective. That's amazing. All right, so we've talked a little bit today about just building the right team, and we talked about the strengths, and you're looking for individuals that have other strengths that maybe you don't possess or that can help enhance you or other parts of the team. So let's talk about growing the business now. So how do we scale this? So we'll rewind. You're a solo agent out of necessity to get some better balance in your life. Decision was made to grow this team. Now you've started to add team members. How do we go from having a team, real estate team, to really scaling this to be a productive team? Let's talk about that a little bit.
That part was hard to me. Having a business mindset, used to product based on my own goals and my own situations. My personality is, I never needed a reason to help me wake up in the morning with a smile or with a positive attitude to go and look for clients and represent people. Over the years, I learned that I need to respect people who have that need to do it. And in that aspect, I had to, at the beginning, I gave total independence and freedom to my teammates to make decisions and ask me questions when they needed the questions. Yeah. I learned over the years that actually I need to approach them and ask if they have questions. Just to give you an example, and some people who are with me, or even people who left our team, when I asked them for feedback, basically they, in many cases, told me, we need you more to supervise us. There's different personalities. In my own life, business life, I never needed supervision. Yep. Not because I'm better than anyone else. It's basically, I guess, surviving aspect in many cases. I produce because I had to. But some people behave and live in different lives. So I've been learning over the years, a team leader has to be more involved and ask for set quotas, set goals. We, about 5 years ago or more, one of the requirements in our team is by December 15, we have to have a small business plan, which I offered to do it together with them. But it has to be presented to management by December 15 the previous year. And we start the business plan, most of the time sitting down together individually with a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats for the individual. Talking about not only the business analysis or the industry analysis, the person analysis, right?
Wow.
I can be good or I can have X, Y, and Z possibilities or to take advantage this month, but maybe in 6 months I'm not. And in 6 months I have, well, my kid is going to go into college. My dad is overseas facing a personal situation. So my life, I have to accommodate my life based on my own strengths in that specific time. And we push for that. And then after we do that together, then is when the business plan comes. So based on what you are now or where you are, okay, what are your goals and what are the strategies you're going to be able to sincerely execute?
Yeah. This obviously wasn't a skill that you picked up just overnight from a leadership standpoint. I'm really impressed with this.
Thank you.
The fact that you realize that not only are people different, but they also sell different. They run their business different. They're motivated differently. So walk us through a little bit about that. How did that develop for you? Was this just over years being in the business, or was this a scenario where you were involved with other leaders, leadership classes?
Developed to understand my teammates, you mean?
Yep.
The first thing I guess helped me run a productive business is understanding this is a business. I mean, when I became a realtor in 2003, the reason I became a realtor is because I wanted to own a business. That was the main reason. I didn't have the financial means to open a business. And so I did my research, and I couldn't open, a retail business or a restaurant or whatever, or a daycare center, but the real estate industry or process helped me navigate the decision to become a realtor. On top of that, my background was, and my family used to own a construction business, and somehow I was related when I was a kid or young person to the housing industry in one way or another. But the SWOT analysis itself, I was blessed to go to college and study business administration. I think I learned it there, but of course you learn things in college that you apply and some things that you don't. But to me, the SWOT analysis has always been important because I can offer in this year to focus my business on representing investors for commercial purposes. But maybe next year I won't be able to, because dealing with investor for commercial real estate purposes means dealing with my attorneys, and I have to do perhaps more, have a more busy social life, and maybe I can't right now because I'm going to travel like 3-4 times down to South America, to Peru, and I'm going to be more absent, or maybe because sometimes you get to a point that you don't like to be that social anymore. Right. It's like we need to know ourselves and the situation we are at this point. The same thing with my peers, right? I have teammates who they have young kids, and they are mothers who have young kids. If that mother tells me that she's going to work 60 hours per week, I don't believe her. It's not going to happen. She's going to pay more attention to her kids. Naturally, that's the case. So sometimes I interview people that they tell me things like that, and I know that's not going to happen, right? Yeah. It's because of experience too. In my case, when my father got Alzheimer a couple of years ago. So my business plan, I had to change it as soon as I learned that he got diagnosed with Alzheimer, because I knew that I was going to be interrupted more often. And I need to take care of things and managing, talking about hiring nurses and supervising people remotely, right? So I had to, if I want to produce the same dollar amount per year, I'm not going to be able maybe to sell the same number of houses. Well, I have to sell a little more commercial real estate, right, because the purchase price is going to be kind of similar. Same thing I share with my teammates, and I have teammates who are good producers, but they are in a point of life that they want to enjoy life a little more. Yep. And I respect that. Yep. They like to travel way more than I do, and I respect that.
Personal balance within the business.
Exactly.
Constant, ever-changing development. So as you look at navigating and building goals, you had mentioned that you work through a goal plan with your team members. You do this due by December 15th every single year.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about how often you're checking in on that goal plan and revising it. You mentioned just specifically with your goal plan, when your father went through Alzheimer's or was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, that you had to change the way you were doing your business, that your initial plan. So talk to us a little bit as a leader, from a leader's perspective. How often are you checking in? And when you're checking in, is it different with the teammates?
Yeah, I usually is every quarter or every 3 months. We sit down. Well, we sit down more often, but when we go through the business plan, it's like every 3 months, and most of the times their life changed in those 3 months or maybe 6 months later, in some way or another. So basically, we bring them back. We sit down and say, okay, forget about this goal that you had, because of course it's going to be more difficult. Let's switch and work more on the second goal, or perhaps we are still on time to switch the goals. When COVID came, many people were concerned about what was going to happen. Nobody knew. Yeah. So we had to adjust we had to go out more in public and use social media. We even had a radio show in Spanish for 6 months, trying to calm down people and explain the real estate was still going on, and the banks were bringing different programs in order to help people. Basically, we always do that. This year also, there's many changes, and the new administration brought many changes, so we need to be on the look. My duty as a leader in the team, I have to be on top of learning what's going on around, and not only around the world, around the nation, is around the city and around Nebraska and Iowa, because we also serve Council Bluffs area. So you're in touch with your team, but also staying in touch with the industry. How are you staying so in touch with the industry? What are some avenues, just as a leader, that you're staying in touch so that you can give good direction to your team and maybe siphon that information down to them? One of the things that of course, the day has 24 hours and we don't have time to be everywhere, but like I used to. but I'm part of the Diversity Council at the Omaha Area Board of Realtors. That way I can help the future minority realtors, but at the same time, I'm dealing with other realtors and listening and hearing or exchanging information about their businesses and mine and situations affecting our businesses. Lately, Nebraska Realty put together a team once per month meetings with only team leaders. Wow. And we exchange questions, experiences, and situations. So I'm learning about that. I'm all for learning and be on top of local information. That's so important, because in the last few years, the globalization and internet brought us many good ideas from different states, but we have to explain the public that some of those ideas don't apply to Omaha or to Nebraska. Yeah. So we also organize once per year. This is going to be the third year of a construction and real estate conference, once per year in August, and at the Scott Center and in Omaha. And that day is like a 6 hours deal, and we bring people from the industry and from the city and from the state of Nebraska and nonprofit and private lenders as well to explain different programs, and we learn ourselves those days. Nebraska Business Development Center, for example, from UNO, are helping me with a business plan for that conference itself, and I learned there that they do that for free for small businesses. I'm hearing learning and development individually as a leader, that just never stops, does it? Right? It's just a little bit different than running it as a solo business. Now it's how can I bring this information in, not only for you to get better as a leader, but also how do we put this back to our team as well? Sure. As you look at scaling, so not only as a team, right, team business, but individual business, what do you think are the most important from a lead generation strategy? Is this do you rely more on, say, organic social media, internet, referrals? Is there anything specific that you and or your team really leans into that are most important? The good thing about our team, as you mentioned at the beginning of the conversation, we are a team leading for many years in Nebraska Realty, and the number of people we represent, the number of units sold. And in 2022, 6 of us sold about 259 houses, and then last year we were about 220 or something like that. I was mentioning the number of units that we do are a good result of referral business. Yeah. And our business is based on referral business. We thrive to create loyalty from our clients, and we usually gonna sell houses to the cousins, to the brothers, or to the kids. And I have a blast when I represent the kids of people that I sold houses in 2006, 5, or.
That's a great.
And it happens. It happens. Yeah. Or they come back and they buy a little commercial building from me when they bought their first house with me 20 years ago, and that's the core of our business. On top of that, we generate lead by our participation in community events and community organizations. We do a lot of volunteer work. A lot. I mean, I'm pretty involved with different boards and different organizations where we give back to the community, but at the same time, I guess we raise loyalty in the community. And add to that social media. Social media for me was difficult to understand and accept in the past. Once I accepted, we have to be permanently in social media. Yeah. So we have a person in the office just dedicated to social media, to bilingual social media.
I know you're very involved with the community, and I know a lot of your business comes from that because you got a very tight-knit community. You got a tight-knit group that's really focused on that. But you had mentioned repeat and referral business. So how are you staying in front of these clients, past clients, effectively over the years? What does that look like so that they are referring you and coming back to you time and time again? How do you stay in front of them?
We are in the process of improving that. We did good, but we could have done better. And referral business at this point, I think is supported in our case because we are always exposed and have visibility out there. So they they remember about us serving their families in the past. How they see us in social media, but not only the social media that we post is in community events. We sponsor initiatives, we help with scholarships and things like that. And so I guess that's a way for people to keep us in mind. Mm-hmm. We need to do better on contacting our people, a CRM process well developed. Yeah. Some of us do that. Some of us, we're driving by and sometimes informally I see drove through a house that I sold many years ago, and I always have the phone number saved in my phone. I have, I think, thousands of phone numbers in my phone. So I basically, sometimes out of the blue, I call them while I'm driving. And just checking on them and things like that. But we need to be more systematic. We need to actually get back to them in their birthday or one more year celebration of owning the house. We usually are pretty good in the end of the year, Christmas time. We get back to almost everybody. On Mother's Day sometimes, but
what I think is most interesting here is that the one area that you could probably grow is the CRM, but you're working all of these other areas, and that's working. So imagine what it's going to look like here when you turn the CRM on. That's really amazing. Yeah. You know, if as we're talking about growth, it's obviously very exciting, right? Building business, building the team, but with that as a leader comes challenges. So talk to us a little bit about what are some of the biggest challenges you see as a leader, and for other individuals that maybe are early on in their leadership career, building a team, or those that are thinking about getting into it? What are some of the biggest challenges that you see as a leader in running a team?
There are many. To me, it's so difficult to fire someone up to now. It's been so. I've been educating myself to do it to be fair, I mean, I think I'm a pretty fair person, and that's why actually it's difficult for me to fire someone. But you gotta make decisions. It's a business sometimes, and that's the process that I'm learning, how to let people go, and the process to get to that point. I'd rather not let anyone go, and hopefully that doesn't happen again in my life, but it might. Yeah. Being a business owner, that's one thing. Secondly, you mentioned balance at the beginning. I mean, I'm in the process still. 12 years after leading the team, but I still don't find balance the way it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I have two daughters. One is going to college in a few months, and the other one is a sophomore. And of course, my wife and family overseas, and in different states, and also I wish I could have a more not set schedule, but at least to know way in advance that I can be a little more relaxed, right? Yeah. One thing, maybe a consequence of not organizing myself better in the past is, to give an example, I don't enjoy vacations the way many people do, and that's not good. So I am still working on that, right? I mean, it's I take vacations. I like to travel. I like to expose my kids to different realities. I've been in many places in the world, showing my kids what the world is about. But I myself am the kind of person that a week later I want to be here back in my office. and that's not healthy. Yeah. And so I'm still in that process. I think the CRM, we were talking about the CRM before. Yes, many things work for me. But we were talking about a productive business. Productive business means that I might be able to produce the same or better, yep, with less pain or less sweat, maybe.
Better quality of life.
Exactly.
Yeah, more time balance. So you mentioned firing an individual. That's tough. There are other difficult conversations to have throughout the year. How do you approach those? How do you approach a difficult conversation with a team member?
I mean, it's a process. To get to that point, we had to have several conversations in the past in order to get to that final conclusion. To me, it's difficult because most of the times I'm not even thinking on the subject. I'm thinking about the family which is behind.
Yeah.
Right. And also, I'm the kind of person to tend to think that, well, they made a mistake or they did X or Y to me or to the team, but they didn't mean to. It's my way to be. But of course, we have guidelines. The industry have guidelines. Nebraska Realty has guidelines. So we need to, all of us, to comply with the guidelines, and including the culture of our office and our team. We speak about that pretty often. I bring that to the table more often. I mean, remind our team members our goals, yeah, and the strategies, mutually accepted at the beginning. And my goal is to avoid a situation to let someone go. Yeah. But if I have to, it goes step by step. There's a warning, there's a second warning, and there's just friendly conversations. I mean, the first thing we need to ask to people who make a mistake or who expose themselves to a final conclusion like that is, why do you do that? I mean, there's got to be a reason, explaining the reason, right? Yeah. Sometimes it's just a human reason, a personal reason that brought to that mistake.
Being a present leader, that's really, for me, that's what that boils down to, and making sure that you're staying in contact with that individual and not waiting until this thing boils over. And that's super important. How long did that take you to get to that point to realize that I really have to be checking in with my team? And how, I guess maybe a better question, how often are you checking in with your team members?
I would say maybe in a weekly basis or maybe more often. Wow. Sometimes checking informally, but I just get to their desk and ask, how's everything going? And I'm usually copied in much, I'm aware of their transactions. Mm-hmm. And I'm always offering, actually, to me, sometimes a red flag when they don't call me, or they don't share with me the need of help.
Great perception.
Sometimes it's, well, you're not producing because you're not asking for help. right? I mean, it's. I wish I had the help or the possibility of help in the past that you have here, not only from me, from our teammates. Again, when we interview people, the decision to invite someone is because we want to know, we are positive that person is going to help other people, not only myself. That person is going to be available if someone needs to be replaced for a showing or help a negotiation a deal or opening a door to a contractor or a cleaning people.
Let's talk a little bit about time management. I think this kind of rolls right into that too, because I think that, and speak to some of our leaders out here, maybe thinking about building a team or maybe that already have it. Time management is important in any business. Doesn't matter if you're an individual agent or you run a team. Talk to us about time management. How do you manage it, and how is it different from when you were an individual agent versus now running a team? What's most important?
I improved on the time management, and when I started, it was my wife and I, and we didn't have kids, so I had the liberty to work. I'm blessed for the wife that I have, because she was used to see me at 9 p.m. on a Saturday after showing houses all day long, and she used to come with me sometimes for hours. I mean, she was sitting in the car and we were showing houses. And when the kids came, the whole dynamics changed, of course, and also issues came to the table, because, of course, she was expecting more help from me raising a family. And at the beginning, of course, I didn't understand. It's like any other human being. I mean, my main reaction was, this is it. This is my business. This is our business. This is the way it goes, and you're used to this. Mm-hmm. Well, we were used to this before. I mean, now we need to change the way to do things. And so at the time, my time management skills weren't that good, and because I didn't have to make it better. Maybe I had to, but I didn't think I had to. And now over the years, I'm pretty strict. I mean, my cell phone my calendar is synced to my email. And I have every single step in my life in my calendar, or most of them in my calendar. My wife sometimes, or most of the times, I would say 95% of the times, she's sending me emails or calendar invitations for events with our kids. So I have them scheduled, or I pick up my kids. I take my younger daughter to school every day, and on purpose to spend time with her. At least to drive together and have a chat while driving the car. And I'm always I'm proud to say that I'm being in almost all the basketball games, soccer games, dancing presentations, or mock trial, her mock trial team presentations, or the other one participates and leads some organizations in her school. And I went with my oldest daughter we travel around seeing colleges around the nation, and I was involved, and that was in my calendar. That was a non-conflict situation for me, but I still want to improve it with time for me. Yeah. I'm trying to. I just bought a musical instrument a couple of weeks ago, which I want to learn for the first time in my life to play an instrument, to have a hobby. I don't have a hobby, and that's not good.
Isn't that funny how that develops over the years? Things that we used to do or used to like, it changes. Yeah.
Just went back to play soccer a few months ago after 8 years, and because that relaxes me a lot. Play soccer not in a league, just for fun, just to sweat and to laugh and smile and play soccer, and it's helping me a lot. I was going to the gym. I stopped like 2 weeks ago now, so I'm feeling real bad because of I go with my daughter in the morning, like at 6 a.m. Everything had to be in the calendar, but I need to respect those goals. I usually respect. I'm pretty good respecting my business goals, but I wasn't good at my personal goals.
Yeah. And bringing the team on certainly helped with that. Yeah. Maybe talk a little bit even further into the time management regarding separation, because you're still a producing real estate professional.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're helping clients day in and day out. while also running a team and also being an involved parent, spouse, all of the things, friend, picking up some hobbies. But let's talk a little bit about how you separate the leadership in your time management versus your own personal production. How does that balance work? And is this something that's weeks, months, days out, or is this kind of day by day?
I enrolled myself in a real estate coaching service or system back in 2021, I think. And I was there for a year. Helped me a lot in an aspect that one of the principles that they have is if you're a high producer, you have to have a showing agent with you, which has to be a W-2 employee. I was exposed to that concept many years before, and it didn't click. Because to me, I was always thinking, a realtor is a self-employed person. How I'm going to tell a realtor to become an employee of myself if they supposedly want to run a business. They made me understand and they explained me, and I met people at conferences that not everybody has the same goals or the same ways to be. Some people, just because of the stage of their life, they prefer to work for someone else, and or they basically prefer to learn. And that's how I decided to have a showing agent, and because I needed more time, not only for my family, I needed more time to run and manage the business, the team.
Yep.
Producing a lot of sales kept me out showing houses and negotiating deals for me, but I couldn't. That could affect my participation overseeing the transactions of my teammates.
Yep.
So I hired a 19 years old guy who was going to college, and his goal was to become a real estate attorney. And spoke with him and put this on the table. You want to work for me as a showing agent, and you're gonna be a W-2 employee and with a commission, but you're gonna show basically properties to my clients. He realized, yes, I'm a young person. I don't have many people buying houses in my life. My main goal is to comply with college and have good grades and go to law school. And he agreed. Juan Mosqueda is his name. He's still with me 3 years later, and he's doing an outstanding job. And he works only he shows houses to my clients. And I'm of course involved in. I go, of course. It's not like I usually go a couple times with my clients, but usually the family decides to purchase a house after many visits. So the other ones are managed by Juan, but I am involved in the negotiation. I have to know what property my client finally decided to bid on. So I do the research, I advise the price, and I'm involved in the whole process all the way to closing. That helped me a lot because he helped me managing my time to manage the team. Yeah. Otherwise, I think I couldn't keep up the same production.
To me, it seems like that's all about delegation.
Exactly.
You're successful. Very driven. How difficult was that for you to get to a point to say, I'm comfortable delegating these tasks to somebody else that's not Ricardo, who's really good at what he does? How difficult was that for you?
Real difficult. I had to teach Juan, like we all learn in real estate that we cannot express sometimes, or at least, first, this is not a sales position, in my opinion. We are not convincing people to buy a product. I mean, we are guiding the people to make a decision based on their needs, not the needs that I realize they have. And actually, in this world, we also witness many people buying the opposite that they told us they wanted to buy.
Sure.
That's pretty common, and we need to respect that.
Yep.
What is good for me doesn't mean that it has to be good for other people. So I had to make sure, because one was a new agent. So a 19 years old guy. Yep. So I needed to explain that and make sure he understood, and it was a process for him to understand that. On top of that, my own clients, I have a lot of investors, landlords and flippers. So on the flipping side, I'm usually more involved because it needs experience to see a product, a house with offering these assets and thinking, well, this is going to have to become this other product to offer other benefits or amenities. But I had to make sure and teach one when to participate, when to be vocal about things and when not, and to listen basically instead of guiding and teaching people. Because again, I think whoever sees this as a sales position, it might be more difficult to have success in the future. It's a how can I call this, like a guiding situation, a role where we monitor people and guiding step by step. So it was difficult. It's still difficult to delegate. Yeah. It's still difficult. I mean, sometimes things are not done the way I'm comfortable with, and sometimes I need to adjust actually to the situation instead of them adjusting to my way to be.
Mm-hmm. I think that's really important for leaders to understand, and even me personally on my journey into leadership was that taking that step to delegation, that first step was really difficult. And I think it all boiled down to trust, which is exactly what you were explaining. And it's a process, right? You had to get Juan to a certain point where you trusted him with that specific part of the process, all of your years of experience, you brought him along with that. So I think that's a great piece for people to really lean into, to understand that to grow the business, you had to learn to delegate, but that didn't just happen overnight, and that's okay. That can be a process. We have to get to a position to where we trust individuals that are on our team, and once we're there, boy, it unlocks all sorts of different opportunities. Which, in this particular case, from a time management standpoint, now gives you time to lean into other parts of the team to really grow that. So I think that's a great point that you make, and pretty awesome. You're building a team like this.
Thank you.
Okay, so you've got a lot on your plate. We've talked about time management today. We've talked about how you're scaling a business. We're just kind of working our way backwards here. Talked about that decision-making process, that it was a necessity for you. So let's talk in this last piece about even further about the work-life balance as a team member, how you're setting boundaries. How are you setting boundaries for what gets into your calendar? So we're kind of spinning back into this time management piece. How are you setting boundaries for, hey, this is a me task, or this is maybe a piece that I'm pushing off to my team and delegating, either into your business life or your personal life? How are you setting boundaries there?
In the business life, we took risks. I mean, we are delegating, we are taking risk right there. When I formed the team, my cell phone number, where my signs and all my business was, the cell phone number became my office number, a landline. So right there, I knew that I was taking a risk of losing clients because they were going to call me and someone was going to answer, and there was a filter to get to me. Mm-hmm. And some people just like to work directly to one specific professional. But that was setting a boundary at the same time, because I said, well, if I want to get to this point and lead a team, I have to give up a little bit.
There you go.
And I have to accept that I'm going to lose a little bit. I'm going to gain, but I'm going to lose also in the process to gain.
Great advice.
And same thing with my teammates. I was mentioning the dealing with investors. Juan knows now, he's a pretty capable person, and I think he's a professional who can serve investors. But at the same time, for the first couple of years, I was doing this for 20 years before, mm-hmm. and I'm an investor myself. I own real estate in different aspects. So I was the one who had to help investors specifically. So I had to set a boundary right there, because sometimes my clients said, well, I'm buying a house, but at the same time, my brother wants to buy a rental property. Juan, can you help? And actually, Juan, that's my deal now. It's same team in the team, and I mean it's we gotta set boundaries in different aspects of even schedules, even time frames, even deadlines.
Yep.
In my personal life, my goal in my business plan is to be at home at 7 p.m. And it sounds late, but to me that was difficult even to convince myself that I had to be at home at 7 p.m., meaning that I had to leave the office like around 6:30.
I don't want to stop you. I want you to keep going, but I think I heard this. This is in your goal plan. This is a specific goal that's in your goal plan. Wow, that's pretty amazing.
That and also taking two vacations per year with the family, which I know up to now is not easy for me, for my personal mind to feel good taking vacations. But I know that I'm wrong. So I had to convince myself, I improve a lot. I enjoy my week and my 2 weeks or whatever time it takes to be with my kids. But when I'm buying the tickets or planning the vacation, that's where I'm stressed. Man, I'm gonna be out for 1 week or 2 weeks. The conference is coming in August, and I'm leaving in June. I'm going to Machu Picchu in June with my family, and how's that gonna be in the middle of the process? But it's a boundary that I'm setting. This is your life. This is my life. My daughter is going to college in August as well, or September, I think. And so I want to spend time with her, good time, quality time before she leaves.
Wow. You've gotten really specific into this goal plan. I think that's super important for
have to be specific.
Our watchers to hear is that if it's in the goal plan, like that really helps because you're revisiting this thing a lot. Yeah. It's pretty important. All right, maybe as we kind of get close to wrapping this up, what habits or routines do you feel help you stay ultra productive throughout your day, whether it's from a leader standpoint or from your own business development standpoint? What are some routine habits that you think are very important?
Having my calendar well typed and well set. It's a habit that I must not give up. It has to, in order to organize my day. And I would say one thing that I don't do, I need to work out or do more exercises. It's a habit that I don't do now, but I need to, in order to have more peace of mind, to be more relaxed. Because of course, it's a stressful industry, and we are all facing stress every day, and from different corners. And another habit that I think is bringing me good results is I tried. Although I understand it doesn't have to be that way, but I try to become a friend of my teammates. And even though if I ever have to let someone go, I want that person to feel appreciated for what they did and what they brought to the team and what they bring to the community.
How are you being intentional with that? So you said you wanted to be a friend to your teammates, individuals that are on your team. Maybe tell our watchers and listeners a little bit about that. Are there specific ways you're being intentional about bringing them in and including them, and whether it's events or activities? What does that look like?
We celebrate every single birthday. First in our office, we basically close maybe for 2 hours and we have lunch together, or we go somewhere. On top of that, we added about 2 years ago the team bonding session once per month, and we ask everybody to stop selling houses at those specific time on one Friday per month at night, which is a busy day usually, but we deserve that time for us. Mm-hmm. And then we know each other in a different aspect. Sometimes we are working hard and we don't realize what. I learned that some of my teammates, they know how to play music, and I didn't know that before. Yeah. And that brings, those two examples brings participation or invitations, if the word applies, from them to their personal life. Yeah. When they feel we start creating rapport, I've been to parties at their homes and I met their kids, grandkids, or parents, and that I wouldn't have the chance to do it if we didn't do the first thing first. Yep. And that's one of the aspects. And the other one is I'm always telling them, yes, I lead the team, I manage the team, but I'm not their boss. I'm just guiding. If they don't comply with the guidance, of course, we're gonna have to follow steps. But I'm not. My position shouldn't be vertical in the team.
Tell me a little bit about your gathering. He said you do this once a month, right? It's team bonding, team building, but also celebrating. How are you celebrating, and what exactly are you celebrating at these get-togethers? Tell me about it.
Well, that's going to be a funny answer because 9 of us are Latinos. So the celebrations are a little loud and we're more festive. I mean, the festivity environment is pretty big. I wasn't even used to many of the celebrations. I'm from. Oh, sorry.
This is the time management piece. He's got a reminder set, folks. This is exactly what we see.
I am born and raised in South America, but at the same time, my parents weren't that they didn't celebrate much. And I'm kind of a unique, in a different aspect, and raised than some other people. So I had to adjust myself to the way to be from. And remember, I mean, it's we all, my team speak Spanish, but there's subcultures among the Latino culture. So some things were new to me. I mean, it's even some words that my teammates used. They didn't mean the same thing to me. Mm-hmm. So I had to adjust to the things that are used, to their traditions, I would say.
Yep.
And of course, it's not an obligation, and it's not something that I don't enjoy. I actually learned how to enjoy that.
Yeah.
And I brought that back to me in many points after many years, thinking, man, I'm too concentrated on work. Part of my growth, I need to enjoy life too, and this is a way to enjoy life.
Yeah.
By learning what they do, how they celebrate, by participating in their life.
I think this is really important, and it sounds like you've got a great grasp on it, in that if teams get together to celebrate something, it's important to understand what the team wants. How do you want to celebrate specifically? And teams can celebrate different things in different ways, and that's absolutely okay. What works for one team doesn't necessarily have to work for the other team.
Exactly.
As long as a group, we feel great about what we're there to accomplish, and in this case, we're there just to accomplish and celebrate who we are. How great is that?
Exactly, and we're proud of that. We're proud of that. We try to read them well, to understand them well, and to mingle. Our families know each other, and we all enjoy the success of even our kids.
We have talked a lot today with Ricardo, and I feel like I could probably sit in this podcast for another hour or two, and we probably wouldn't get through all the things that I'd want to talk to you about. But maybe just
pretty good here.
This is fantastic. I want to ask you one final question, and maybe this is just super rapid fire for you. But as you think about the solo agent, if there was one piece of advice that you could give any agents out there that are individual right now, that are thinking about growing or building or starting their own team, what's one piece of advice that you would give to them?
For an individual agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before joining a team, you said, right?
Or starting a team.
I would tell them, be pretty consistent and disciplined on a CRM system or a business plan organizing your life, not only the business life. I mean, the toll you pay is going to follow you forever if you don't organize your life well. Successful is not only business success. It has to go hand by hand with your personal life. And I think what the decisions made now, they're going to get used to those ways to be, and they're going to follow that in the future. So in my case, I didn't organize my business at the beginning with a business plan. Mm-hmm. I've been doing that maybe for the last 10, 12 years, but before not. And my life would have been much easier, and I wouldn't achieve the goals that I'm achieving now, maybe 10 years before, if I wouldn't organize my business more established, more formal. Formalizing is important, to be formal.
Getting a good plan, at least some direction.
I always hear, well, I'm going to become a realtor because I can manage my time and I'm not going to have a boss and things like that. I don't see a future in that way to think.
So I want to personally thank you for spending some time with us today. And these sessions are always great. And I can tell you, we're going to follow up again with this because this has been really good. And I think we're just barely scratching the surface here. Why don't you tell us just a little bit how we can connect? Tell us about your team, website, social media. How do we get connected with Ricardo Castro?
Ricardo Castro, social media, Castro Realty Group. In all of them, in all of the channels and social media venues, and crghouses.com, which is Castro Realty Group, crghouses.com. And I can talk to anyone. I like to share my life, my experiences, and my mistakes, because we all learn. And here we are to share information. I'm enjoying this a lot. And actually, maybe I extended too much on my answers, but I enjoy being here with you.
I loved your answers, and you're very real, and I think that's the best part. And learning your journey, last 22 years is amazing. Things that you accomplished already are absolutely amazing as well. I look forward to watching this thing grow even further because I know you're an awesome leader, and thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thank you.